Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, July 6th, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Kim Mo-gyan. Before we begin, these are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. South Korea reported 746 new COVID-19 cases Tuesday, showing no signs of easing since last week. Authorities are holding a special meeting to discuss measures to contain the spread of the virus, with specific focus on the capital area. A recent study shows the Pfizer vaccine is less effective in halting the spread of the Delta variant. The study says the vaccine is only 64% effective at preventing infection among the fully vaccinated, far less than the 94% efficacy rate on other strains. And heavy monsoon rain is pounding the Korean peninsula, causing damage and landslides across southern regions. At least one person has been confirmed dead in the Jeollanam-do province. Our top story this morning, South Korea's Prime Minister held a meeting this morning to discuss special virus prevention measures in the capital region. Now, one of the measures discussed was for the government to strengthen measures for business owners in the greater capital area by implementing a one strike out policy. For more, we have our Eun-ji on the line for us. Eun-ji, give us the details.
Sure, Mo-gyan. At a meeting held about 2 hours ago, Prime Minister Kim Boo-kyum announced stern measures against those in violation of social distancing rules. Starting July 8th, if an owner is found violating the rule, even if it's just once, their business will have to shut down for 10 days.
This means one strike and you're out. It's a very strong policy that can have your business shut down for 10 days.
His remarks come as Delta variant cases spike in the capital region. He added that he understands the difficulty that small business owners are going through, but asked for cooperation in fighting the pandemic in order to get back to normal. He also raised concerns about young people spreading the virus, as 3 out of 10 people infected are in their 20s. Meanwhile, the country saw another high number of cases on Tuesday, reporting 746 infections. Of the 690 locally transmitted cases, most of them came from Seoul and its surrounding areas. At least 23 people were infected at an elementary school in Incheon, raising concerns of more clusters. That's all I have at this hour, but I'll be back with more updates in a later newscast. Back to you, Mo-gyan.
Thank you, Eun-ji. Do keep us updated. Now, Israel's health ministry says the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is less effective in halting the spread of the Delta variant of COVID-19. The ministry's study compared it to its efficacy against previous strains of the virus. Lee Seung-jae with the details.
According to a preliminary study released by Israel's health ministry on Monday, the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is less effective in halting the spread of the highly transmissible Delta variant compared to other strains of COVID-19. The study collected data over the past month showing the vaccine is only 64% effective at preventing infection among those who've been fully vaccinated. This is compared to the estimated efficacy of 94% against previous strains. However, the study showed the vaccine is still 93% effective against serious illness and hospitalization. According to Professor Nadav Davidovich, who sits on the Israeli government's expert advisory committee, the Delta variant is a lot more infectious, but when fully vaccinated, it does not lead to as much serious illness or death. As of Monday, Israel reported nearly 2,600 active COVID-19 cases, more than double the previous week, but only 35 people were classified as seriously ill. Israel's latest study showed a significantly lower efficacy compared to that of a previous study conducted in the UK. Public Health England in May said the Pfizer vaccine provided 88% protection against symptomatic infection with Delta and 93% against the Alpha variant. The UK study also showed 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine provided 66% protection against the Delta variant. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Visitors from across South Korea are flocking to Jeju Island this summer. To try and ensure beaches don't become virus hotspots, health authorities have imposed stricter measures. Our Choi Won-jung files us this report from Jeju.
Overcast weather on Jeju Island didn't stop these thousands of people from heading to the beach to ride a jet ski, take a dip in the sea, or simply relax on the sand. As private gatherings of more than 4 people have been allowed on the island from the beginning of July, the beach officials are busier than usual, trying to keep up with the COVID-19 prevention measures.
Starting in July, up to 6 people are allowed to gather. I'm worried that more people will come to visit, but I think we'll be okay since we keep urging people not to have gatherings of more than 7 people.
As a part of the virus prevention measures, all visitors are required to dial to a designated phone number to register themselves when they arrive. And checking their body temperature is also a must. The visitors will get a wristband after their temperature has been checked, allowing them to use the common facilities like a showering area without having their temperature checked again.
One of the measures in place is this body temperature sticker. The color of the sticker right now is green, but if your temperature goes over 37.5 degrees Celsius, it changes to yellow.
And another key measure is wearing a mask. You don't need to wear one in the water, but when you're out, you must put it back on. During the day, the officials are walking around the area, making sure all visitors put their masks back on right away. Some visitors were happy to see these patrols.
I saw a few people not wearing masks here, but I think the officials asking people to put masks on is helping prevention measures a lot.
My time so far, we've been really cautious, been able to do things, but safely. So I really appreciate that. And my family and I are here, and we've felt safe, but also, have a little bit of freedom. So to do things, it's been nice. So.
As enforcing the prevention measures is difficult in the evening, the official here said the beach will close after 7 p.m. and will be open until the end of August. 최원정, Arirang News, Jeju.
What is being dubbed Freedom Day in the UK will go ahead as planned on July 19th, despite warnings that daily cases could hit 50,000 a day by then. At a press briefing Monday, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson detailed the final steps for the easing of England's lockdown measures, with a final decision set for July 12th. Johnson said there would be no limits on how many people can meet socially or where they can meet, adding regulations mandating face masks would be lifted. He said COVID-19 will become a virus that people learn to live with, just like the common flu, insisting a reopening would not lead to more deaths. Southern parts of South Korea are grappling with the aftermath of heavy rain that struck the region overnight. Jeollanam-do province was pounded by heavy showers, with some areas seeing more than 400 millimeters of rain as of Tuesday morning. A woman in her 60s was found dead after her house was flooded by an overflowing stream. A landslide also occurred on a mountain in Gwangyang City, damaging 2 houses and burying another 2 under piles of mud. Use of railways and roads have been suspended, and restrictions on entry to national parks have been put in place over safety concerns. The region is set to see even heavier rain this afternoon, with as much as 80 millimeters per hour expected. Over in Japan, which has also seen heavy rain in recent days, a deadly landslide washed away homes and people, with at least 80 people still being unaccounted for. Kim Ji-yeon tells us more.
The number of people missing due to mudslides in a Japanese resort town has reportedly shot up from 20 to 80. Japanese broadcaster NHK said on Monday a deadly mudslide following heavy rainfall during the weekend had washed away homes and covered roads and debris in Atami, around 100 kilometers southwest of Tokyo. As of Monday morning, some 560 residents are being evacuated to nearby shelters.
The mudslide occurred near my home, and it's unknown whether there will be more mudslides. My home still has access to electricity, but the water supply has been cut off. I know someone whose house was washed away, and also some others who are still missing. My house was not damaged, and I pray for the safety of those who are missing.
My house is totally out of water. I feel worried and decided to go to the shelter. I don't know how long I will stay there, and this worries me a lot.
Currently, my biggest concern is that I don't know how long I will have to live in the shelter.
Police, fire, and military personnel continue their search and rescue efforts for the third straight day, but periodic rain and concerns of additional landslides are hindering their operations. South Korean ambassador to Japan Kang Chang-il sent a letter of condolence to the governor of Shizuoka Prefecture, Heita Kawakazu, wishing for a prompt recovery under the governor's leadership and vowed to provide help if needed. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has told his French and German counterparts that he hopes China and Europe will expand cooperation to better respond to global challenges. In a three-way video call on Monday, Xi expressed his hopes to President Macron and Chancellor Merkel that Europeans can play a more active role in international affairs and create a transparent and unbiased environment for Chinese companies. Now, in response, the two European leaders urged China to ease restrictions for Europeans wanting to travel to the country, asking for more flights. They also requested fair competition in the Chinese market so that foreign companies in the country can benefit from conditions similar to what Chinese firms have in Europe. Tajikistan is bolstering border security by mobilizing some 20,000 military reservists as over 1,000 Afghan troops fled into the neighboring country Monday following clashes with the Taliban. The exodus of troops follows another weekend of fighting across the northern part of Afghanistan, where the Taliban has overrun dozens of districts. It also comes just 2 days after the U.S. officially vacated its main Bagram air base as part of plans to withdraw all foreign troops from the country by September. Amid growing unrest, Seoul is asking all South Koreans in Afghanistan to leave the country as soon as possible, adding that those who fail to do so may face criminal punishment. Seoul's foreign ministry explained a very small number of Koreans are still in Afghanistan, which is currently subject to a government travel ban. Food prices in South Korea were up 12% in the first half of this year compared to last year, the biggest on-year increase in this century. Eggs had the biggest spike as supplies were affected by bird flu. Our Min Soo-kyun helps us look beyond the digits.
Prices of agricultural, livestock, and fishery products were up 12.6% on year in the first half of 2021. It's the biggest increase since an almost 15% jump 30 years ago in 1991. Data from Statistics Korea shows that in the first 6 months of this year, prices have been at least 10% higher than the previous year.
The rise comes due to a poor harvest from a cold weather earlier in the year and a slump in the number of eggs following a series of bird flu outbreaks.
By product, the price of green onion spiked over 156%, the highest in 27 years. Apple prices were up 54% and pears were up 47%. Prices of eggs were also up almost 39% on year, the largest increase in 4 years. Higher food prices are placing an extra burden on consumers.
Prices are really up. I came out with my wife to do grocery shopping, and it's not easy to pick up items and put them in the cart.
The government expects prices of agricultural, livestock, and fishery products to stabilize in the second half of the year due to increased supply and better harvests. The Finance Ministry also noted that prices are expected to stabilize following a recovery in egg supply in the third quarter and the beginning of the grain and fruit harvest in the fourth quarter. Min Soo-kyun, Arirang News.
The fate of numerous cryptocurrency exchanges in South Korea hangs in the balance as the financial regulator is tightening rules on such platforms, mandating them to be partnered up with local banks to continue operating. However, the local banking industry is reluctant to establish such partnerships, especially with smaller exchanges. Kim Hyo-san reports.
South Korea's financial authorities are ramping up their crackdown on certain crypto exchanges. According to the local banking industry, South Korea's financial authorities have rejected a request by local banks, which had asked the government to exempt them from any blame if problems were to arise at the exchanges. Following the rejection, numerous exchanges that don't already have a partnership with a bank face the threats of closure in September, which is when they must verify users' real name bank accounts in order to continue operations in accordance to a revision of the Act on Reporting and Using Specified Financial Transaction Information. This is something the head of the financial watchdog has been warning about for quite some time.
Exchanges have mushroomed to around 200 in number, and many could close in September, and many people could ask why the government provides no protection to such investors.
Meeting with reporters recently, he also made it clear that banks hold the primary responsibility if money laundering occurs on a cryptocurrency exchange they are linked with. This means most local exchanges are on the verge of closure, as only 4 of the market leaders in South Korea, including Upbit and Bitsum, have partnerships with banks to verify their users' real name bank accounts. Kim Hyun-sun, Arirang News.
Now, to enhance public transport in the capital area, the government is launching a new bus service. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport said Tuesday that the Bus Transit Express, or BTX, will transport passengers from the cities surrounding the capital to subway stations in Seoul. The electric BTS buses will use special bus lanes on the Gangbyeon Northern Highway and Olympic Highway. As well as the BTX system, the ministry looks to create other traffic facilities, including 41 metro rails, 25 intercity roads, and 12 bus transitways across 5 major cities by 2025. Brave and dedicated individuals risk their lives to capture footage and ensure the world learns the truth behind major historical events. A special award has been made in honor of a video journalist that garnered recognition for his footage of the May 18th Gwangju pro-democracy movement. Kim Bo-kyung tells us more.
Sometimes scenes recorded frame by frame can resonate more in people's minds. During the May 18th Gwangju pro-democracy movement, thousands of civilians in Gwangju City were killed or injured in a crackdown by the authoritarian government. The first Western reporter who risked his life to record footage of the bloody incident and let the world know what happened in Gwangju was the German journalist Jürgen Hinspeter. Honoring the man, the Korea Video Journalists Association and the May 18th Memorial Foundation have jointly organized an International Video Press Award, the Hinspeter Awards. The award aims to recognize video journalists who show journalistic spirit, recording the reality of democratic movements around the world.
The Hinspeter Awards will contribute to democratization by reflecting the spirit of the Gwangju pro-democracy movement in countries that are fighting against authoritarian governments. The award will go to those who covered or contributed to democracy, freedom, peace, or human rights.
There will be 4 awards. All entries can compete for the top honor, titled the Word at a Crossroads Award, and there are also awards for the Best News Clip and Best Feature. As well as those, the May Gwangju Award will be given to a journalist who makes the biggest contribution to democracy and human rights. A member of the organizing committee says she hopes the awards can encourage reporters in Myanmar by letting them know their work is not being taken for granted.
We hope lots of Hinspeters across the world can receive recognition through the award. We believe the fact that this award exists could give hope to journalists in Myanmar who are reporting while risking their lives.
Candidates can apply for this year's awards until July 27th through the official website, and the winners will be announced at the end of August. The very first Hinspeter Awards will take place on October 27th in Seoul, and next year's ceremony will be in Gwangju. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
Welcome. It's time for The World Now, bringing you some of the most interesting news from around the globe. I'm Ji-young. Survivors of the Florida condo collapse escaped with their lives, but almost nothing else. To lessen the burden for those who became homeless, a Miami-based hospitality company is offering free temporary shelter. The founder of the company said that he decided to host the affected families because he knew from experience that the disaster would lead to displacement.
I went through a similar experience in 9/11. My family had moved back to Manhattan, just 5 blocks away from World Trade Center, and we were in our new apartment for less than a week when that happened. We couldn't go back for about a month, so I was on, friends' sofas, hotel rooms. It was a very disjointed way to live.
He's offering a month of rent-free housing to survivors and their families to assist them in finding their feet. He said he and his staff felt morally obligated to provide help. Climate change is threatening the future of the tea industry. Researchers at charity Christian Aid say that by 2050, rising temperatures, drought, erratic rainfall, and flash floods will shrink Kenya's optimal tea growing conditions by over a quarter. Kenya is already seeing the effects of climate change, and some threatened plantation workers have turned to farming pineapple because it doesn't need much rain.
Areas currently that are growing tea, farmers that are depending on tea are going to increasingly become more vulnerable as the climate continues to change. The area is also going to be unsuitable in terms of the soils, suitability of the soils, and also the rainfall amounts.
Kenya is currently the world's biggest black tea supplier and the largest exporter of aromatic beverages to the tea-loving United Kingdom. The report also said production of the tea is set to fall by around 40% by 2050 in areas with just average tea growing conditions. When traveling Bosnia, you might want to add a relatively unexplored hideaway onto your list of destinations to visit. A hidden ancient road running through a forest has recently been found in the Balkan country's mountainous northeastern corner. The secluded road, which experts say dates back some 2,000 years, was hidden from discovery by thick forest greenery. Experts say there's hope the site could become a new draw for tourists.
It is truly fortunate that this road had been preserved deep in the forest, and I hope it could enrich the tourism offering in the northeast part of Bosnia.
Also, one of the Italian diplomats invited to the public presentation of the site said that this road makes the relationship between the two countries even more special. Some other important archaeological sites from the Roman period found in the south of the country have been major tourist attractions since they were designated as monuments of culture in the 1960s.
Good morning. Monsoon rain continues to lash southern parts of the country. It's pouring down in the Jeollado and Gyeongsang-do provinces, dropping around 50 to 80 millimeters an hour. So heavy rain alerts have been issued to the already hardest hit areas, while the Korea Forest Service has issued caution level on a crisis alert for landslides to those two provinces. So please be extra careful. It's also been quite windy over on Jeju Island and along the south coast. What's more, they could see 200 more millimeters of showers throughout the day. Chungcheongdo provinces, though, could get 10 to 60 millimeters. Then daily highs will be 3 to 4 degrees higher today across Korea, and Seoul and Chuncheon will be getting up to 31 degrees Celsius under partly sunny skies, while southern regions will see highs in the mid-20s this afternoon. The monsoonal front will drop rain on the capital from tomorrow afternoon, and showers will be on and off through the weekend. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the weather conditions around the world.
that will do it for us at this hour on Arirang News. We'll be back at noon Korea time, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
...2021 Overseas TV Viewers Survey. We would like to hear from viewers around the world to better meet your needs.